With our first boondocking experience behind us, we were heading into Helper, Utah for a quick stay before heading to Moab. Helper turned out to be a cool little town. It was once the hub for nearby coal mines, and as you drive in, you're greeted by a tribute to that history. A giant coal miner statue called Big John that stands in front of the town library. The town's history and importance to the railroad industry led to its name, which comes from the extra engines that were required to help trains up the nearby steep mountain grade. As you drive through the revived main street and peek down at side streets, you'll spy trains and train history everywhere. We stayed at the Castle Gate RV Park just outside of town. The prices were a bit high, but the park was new and had great facilities and was a great place to clean up after boondocking. There's an area just west of town called Spring Canyon, and we'd heard it was littered with ghost towns and the remnants of the region's coal history. If you're only in town for a day, this is a great drive to take. The drive from Helper through the canyon and back is 11.4 miles. Much of it is paved, but there are a few dirt roads that spur off it. The first of these roads is Sowbelly Gulch Road, and it can be a bit bumpy. There are a few places along the road with deep ruts and washouts, so make sure your vehicle can handle it. This was a great first stop and allowed us the chance to get out and hike around a bit. We were also able to see our first glimpse of abandoned buildings and the remnants of coal mining life. Oh, and we saw an ancient Red Sox hieroglyph. If you hike up to the top of the hill, you'll get a great view of the remains of a train trestle that once stood there. The rest of the drive provides you with views of a once thriving coal mining district that boasted over 1,100 residents. Nearly all of the land on either side of the road is private property, so you won't be able to explore much of the area. The foundation of an old school is about the only spot we could find to at least walk up to. The walls of the abandoned supply store are a good indicator that you've reached the end of the road. We're not sure if you're truly able to boondock here. It looks awfully creepy and may be haunted, so choose wisely. Another great place to check out is the local museum. The Western Mining and Railroad Museum entry fee is by donation, but $5 per person is suggested. Your $5 will get you into a great museum that shows the rich history of the area. The coolest part of the museum for us was a staircase that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid once walked upon as they robbed the Pleasant Valley Coal Company's payroll in April 1897.
We are on our way from Helper, Utah to Moab, Utah. But this morning we found a couple, well, really one thing with Casper. So we've literally had him for 12 days now. And the first day we we couldn't get the propane to light on the fridge. You could just hear it clicking, and yes, there was propane, but it just kind of, the next time it worked. And so we thought, well, it was new, maybe it just needed some time to cycle propane through. Well, it did it again this morning, and so we put the slide out partially out, tried it again, and then actually tried the stove. The stove had nothing either. We switched the propane tanks, completely full propane tank, nothing was coming through. Put the slide out all the way out, and then it magically worked. So I got underneath the slide out, and for some reason they ran the hose, the propane hose, instead of running it almost straight back towards underneath the trailer, they ran it out like it was coming out of the side of the slide out. So when the slide out goes in, it crimps it, in actually two spots. So to be able to get it to work, I had to hold the hose in while she shut the slide out. This is crimped, and so the propane line comes off, comes up really sharp, and then as the slide out moves in, this pinches. So Susanna has to bring the slide out in while I hold this down and to the side. You can already see though that there's a permanent crimp in here, but yeah, the spring that's attached doesn't actually pull it in properly, so I also have to pull this out and hold it down as the slide out goes in. So a little thing that we're gonna have to get figured out, you know, there's just some little things. Casper's brand new. We missed a couple things, I think, when we picked him up. So one was, yeah, we checked that the heat worked, but we didn't check all of the vents. So the vent in the bathroom, the duct, nothing comes through. So the bathroom is
cold. Always.
It's a little chilly. And we're starting to get out in colder weather at nights. I think we've been like 39, 40. So the rest of the rooms actually aren't bad, but the bathroom is
cold.
But really, we've probably got a couple of weeks before we can stop. And it might be in Roswell, because we've got 2 weeks in Roswell. And if we've got to drop it off for a couple of days, that might be the only place to do it.
The drive from Helper, Utah to Moab is only about 2 hours. It is such a cool drive as you watch the scenery change and the colors of the rock formations gain a red color the closer you get to Moab. We had a full week in Moab, and while our main focus was the arches, there's so much more to see. We decided to check out Canyonlands National Park and Dead Horse Point State Park. Because of this, we chose the Archview RV Resort that is located about 10 minutes north of Moab. It offers 60-plus RV sites, cabins, and tent sites. It also has a small pool, a splash pad for the kids, laundry, a gas station, and a store to get all your basic needs. And like the name says, it views the arches. You can spy some of the national park's cool features off in the distance. The park also sits near the turnoff to Canyonlands National Park and Dead Horse Point State Park. Our first destination would be Canyonlands, and we recommend you get up early for the 25-minute drive, not only to ensure you have enough time in the park, but also because the morning light makes this drive beautiful. Canyonlands National Park is over 337,000 acres, and most of it is hard to get to. It's broken up into 3 districts, and we chose to spend our time at the Island in the Sky district, which is probably the most easily accessible. If you have only one day at the park, we've got the top spots to hit. As soon as you arrive at the park, you'll understand why they call it Canyonlands. Its stunning views of canyons diving over 2,000 feet below seem to be around every corner and are amazing. The first must-see stop is the Mesa Arch, and again, go in the morning. The trail is short and leads you to an amazing natural wonder. If you have the stomach for it, make sure you peek out through the arch. It's an unbelievable view and one you'll remember forever. There's also a great spot just to the left of the arch too, and it allows you to really look out at the canyon below.
So if you do the Mesa Arch Trail, come up over the hill, and move out to the left of it. That's the arch, and that's the edge. Well, as close as I'm willing to get to it. What a view.
Our next stop is Whale Rock. This is another great hike, but does have some steep inclines. It is recommended for children and families, and Corbin loved it. Once at the top, you'll get a great 360-degree view of the surrounding area. Our last recommendation is a stop at Upheaval Dome. There are two great overlooks along the 1.7-mile trail. The dome itself is a puzzle, and there are two theories as to its creation. The salt dome theory is based on sediment building up on the salt and turning into sandstone. The pressure pushed down on the salt unevenly and left a bulge behind. The meteorite theory is that a meteorite hit the site and left an unstable crater behind. It then collapsed and left a dome behind. You decide which one you think is right. Regardless, it's an amazing feature and one that you shouldn't miss. We ended our day there. The next morning, we would be on the hunt for dinosaurs. 10 minutes north of Archview RV Resort is the Mill Canyon Dinosaur track site. This easy 1.8-mile walk is great for all fitness levels and ages. Okay, so it's really a kid favorite, but adults will love it too. 150 million years ago, this area was swampy, and when dinosaurs came through here, they left their mark. Literally. The site has over 200 individual dinosaur tracks. One very cool track is that of a crocodile-like creature pulling itself along the bank. We left our dinosaur tracks behind and set out on the 30-minute drive to Dead Horse Point State Park. Dead Horse Point is on the same route as the Canyonlands, so you could do both parks in one day, but we don't recommend it. Entry fees for the state park are $20 per vehicle, and they offer different rates for those that bike or walk in. Check out their link in our description for more information. Oh, and here's why they call it Dead Horse Point. According to one legend, the Dead Horse Point was once used as a corral for wild Mustangs roaming the Mesa. Cowboys rounded up these horses and herded them across the narrow neck of land into the point. The neck was then fenced off with branches and brush, creating a natural corral surrounded by precipitous cliffs. The cowboys then chose the horses they wanted, and for reasons unknown, left the other horses corralled in the waterless point, where they died of thirst within view of the Colorado River 2,000 feet below. Wow.
Those cowboys are a bunch of a-holes.
Turd burglars, yeah. Bad story behind us. Let's move on to the beauty of the area and a few must-sees. The first is the Visitor Center overlook, which only makes you want to explore more. And just past the Visitor Center is the 1.5 to 2 mile East Rim Trail. The trail will take you all the way to Dead Horse Point Overlook, but we only chose to go halfway on foot. It was really hot that day. The trail will give you some unbelievably beautiful views, so make sure to stop and look out once in a while. We drove the rest of the way to Dead Horse Point, and if you only have time for one stop, this should be it. If the area looks familiar, it's because it's where they filmed the end scene to Thelma and Louise. You know, the one where they drive off the edge of the cliff? We ended our first 2 days in the area and headed back to Casper. Make sure you subscribe and don't miss next week when we explore Arches National Park.
Thank you for watching. We'd love to share our journey with you, so hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you know when a new video is uploaded. And don't forget to leave your comments down below and hit the like button.